Welcome to Serving Locally with me, your host, Michelle Dinas, a podcast where we spotlight service in the Longmont and surrounding communities. All right, let's connect. Hi, welcome to today's episode of Serving Locally with me. I am here with John Lovell with the Habitat for Humanity, and I'm really excited about this. I got to work with them a little bit with the Veterans Community Project, and then I think I got in touch with you at the Unity and Community this year.
Correct.
So that way we can actually get you on here. So we'll just start out with who are you, and just give us a little bit of an overview about Habitat for Humanity.
Great. Well, thank you, Michelle, for inviting us. My name's John Lovell. I'm the Director of Development for Habitat for Humanity of the Vrain Valley. We're one of about 1,100 affiliates in the United States of America, and we also serve in 70 countries overseas.
Oh, wow. I did not know it was that big.
Yep.
That's
It's
fantastic.
been an international organization since its inception.
Awesome. Can you give us just a little bit of a background about Habitat for Humanity?
Sure. Habitat International was founded in 1976 by Millard and Linda Fuller and another gentleman named Clarence Jordan. Together, they put together the basic principles at a place called Koinonia Farms, which was an integrated farming community. And the whole idea of putting together, having families help build their own homes. A lot of the concepts that we use today in Habitat for Humanity are originally started at Koinonia Farms. In 1976, we actually became a separate entity. Our affiliate here in Longmont was founded in 1988, and we're actually celebrating our 35th anniversary this year.
How old I am.
Oh, well,
I
so
was born in
there
88.
you go. Okay, well, then we've been around as long as you have.
That's awesome.
So here in Longmont, we also serve our service area, if you will, runs all the way from Dacono Frederick Firestone all the way up to Estes Park.
Awesome. What is your focus at Habitat for Humanity?
Well, our thing we're best known for, of course, is our home building program. We have completed 122 homes here in our service area, most of them here in Longmont. We also have a very active repair program. When the floods came in 2013, that was really the genesis of our work there. So we've completed 58 repairs to date. We've got 3 more underway. As I said, 122 homes. We've got another 2 that we'll be finishing in January. And then we're starting 12 new homes here in January on the south part of town.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. 12,
Yes, it is.
12 at one time.
Yes.
Is it like a community then, or are they spread out?
No, in this case, it is part of a larger commercial development where we are able to build paired homes that will be somewhat similar, but not the same, to the commercial development that's going on right next to us. So we love it because the families will be integrated into that community and be part of it from the very beginning.
Very good. Very good. I remember, I think we did Habitat for Humanity when I was like my kids' age, because my mom was Mrs. Westminster or something when 20 years ago, or more than that now. And I think we went and painted some lady's house and did some yard work for her.
You
and painted
probably
her
did
fence.
what we called a brush with kindness,
Okay,
which is
that sounds familiar.
that kind of program, probably with Metro Denver if you live down in Westminster. There are 21 different Habitat affiliates across the state of Colorado, and we have a state organization as well called Habitat Colorado
Oh, okay.
that works with our state legislators and things like that. So it's a good, close-knit family.
Very good. Who are you trying to reach with your organization?
Well, several folks that we focus on. Let's talk about families first. Our families are typically earning between 30 to 60% of the area median income, so they're considered very low income families. But they are families that are serving as CNAs in our community. They might be in the manufacturing business. They might have their own small businesses. But that equates to, let's call it, anywhere between $30,000 and $60,000 in annual income for those families, and that varies depending on family size, things like that. So we're serving a segment that could not get any kind of typical financing that you would see in our state of the world today. You know, so that's a very important part of what we do. As I say, we're about to start 12 new homes, so we'll be selecting 12 families here in the next year or so that will help build their homes. So a Habitat family actually has to put in 250 to 500 hours of sweat equity to build their homes and the homes of their neighbors.
The whole, and their neighbors
That's
too.
right.
Awesome.
So it isn't just their house they're working on.
So they're
'cause
all working together.
they're all working together, so they get to know one another, obviously, in a very important way. The other part that we really want to focus on, especially with your mission here, is that volunteers are an absolute integral part of what we do. We wouldn't be doing this program if we didn't have volunteers as part of it. And the benefit there for both the families and the volunteers is they get a chance to interact, to meet one another,
connect.
to know who it is that they're serving, which is a terrific thing. It isn't like somebody who's distant from them.
Right.
But they also find out amazing things about one another, like they're on the kids' same soccer program. Their kids go to our school with the families. So it is an important breaking down of barriers for folks. And as a result of that, we find many of our volunteers also become our advocates. So our board has been very clear in the years that we've been around to say, we want to make sure our volunteer experience is as good as possible so that they become advocates and ultimately, for me, donors to our program as they see the benefits and the changes in our families.
Absolutely. What makes the work of Habitat for Humanity different than other similar serving organizations?
There are very few organizations that focus on home ownership. That is our primary focus. So we're part of what we call a housing continuum that ranges everything from homelessness all the way up to home ownership. And those are important steps that we find people go through. So a lot of rental housing in town, a lot of affordable rental housing. That's something we also need in our communities besides affordable housing. So each of those steps along the way are important to serve for a particular time, and as people gain stability, moving forward to the next step in the home ownership process, in our view. So we're excited because those homes, they become property taxpayers just like all of us, and really have an important part of clearing the way for more people to become part of the Section 8 program, for homeless folks to move into stable housing themselves. That process is very important to us as well.
Helps them through to an end game.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's awesome.
And you mentioned earlier that you were part of the Veterans Community Project build.
They're amazing.
It's an
That
amazing
whole
program.
thing is absolutely amazing.
But again, that's serving the homeless population of our veterans. Very sad thing. We're excited because the Veterans Community Project has, for the first time in Kansas City, where they were founded, they've had a person go through their program all the way to become a Habitat homeowner. And we're hoping for the same thing here. But we also work closely with the in-between to identify families that need stability. They've gotten past their challenge that they're particularly facing, and in turn become Habitat homeowners. And we've probably had, I want to say, 8 to 10 families come out of the in-between, work their way through the program, and become Habitat homeowners.
That's awesome. Just can you walk me through kind of what it means to be a Habitat owner? Like, what is that? You know, what does that look like? Are they paying for the house? Are they, like you said, there's sweat equity? Like, what else goes into that?
So Habitat homeownership is not a giveaway program. It's very important for folks to understand that, for your listeners. Habitat helps build the home with the family. You know, my job is to raise funds to help facilitate that process. But then they become homeowners. They pick up a mortgage that Habitat supplies. Now, what's interesting is that that loan is at 0%. So every penny that they're paying goes to paying down their mortgage, which is something that's been a foundational principle for Habitat, and we very much adopt that. We have training that they have to go through as part of their sweat equity process.
Like financial management.
Financial management, what is insurance, things that many cases our homeowners, this is the first time they've ever owned a home in their entire family.
Do they have like how to take care of a refrigerator, like maintenance?
They get
classes?
some maintenance training.
Is there? Awesome.
Typically, it's more on the systems in the house.
That too.
You know, that sort of thing. So we've recently, the homes that we're building right next to the Veterans Community Project all have solar power. And that's the first time we've ever done that as part of our program. So we're very carefully monitoring with the city of Longmont the benefits of that. But how do I take care of a solar system? We don't have natural gas going into those homes. So how do they handle the electrical system that's required to heat and cool the home in the summers?
Just maintenance on a home is something that's not taught.
That's correct.
And that I'm finding is a bummer. Because to take that, you know, to not know, you know, just that little bit of education, how I know how to do that, or what issues to look for to make sure that, because that's a huge expense if your heater goes out. And it could have been something super simple that would have been easily.
Well, the systems that we're using now, as an example, don't do the traditional way that the homes heat. They're combined with the solar system, they are creating not so much more maintenance problems, but different ways of setting the thermostat and how do you do that. And the heaters are not in the whole home like we might have, where you've got one central air conditioning heating unit. In fact, they're controlled typically by the level of the floor and that sort of thing. So there's some unique things that we're trying to do to make the homes, A, more energy efficient, and B, long-term affordability is important to us, right?
Absolutely.
They've got a stable, known mortgage payment. They're paying their property taxes. They're paying their insurance. But we want to try and keep the energy costs low. And as it turns out, in Longmont, we have very stable electrical rates compared to the rates of natural gas and everything else. So energy efficiency has become more and more important to us, just as a philosophy. We're also very keen on making our homes accessible. So if you look at our current development, we've got 2 duplexes that are 2-story, a 3-bedroom and a 4-bedroom. But we also have 2 duplexes that are single-story. So a family can age in place in that home. It can be handicap accessible. We've done certain things to make sure the doors are wide enough to accommodate a wheelchair. Those kinds of things are just critically important to the long-term stability of our homes. And I think the most recent statistics I've put together, of those 122 homes, 90% of them still have their original homeowner in them.
Oh, wow.
So, and I think the last number was 31 homes have paid off their mortgages in full.
Wow.
So it's a program that has a great deal of success. That stability can bring about a lot of benefits for the family.
And the community itself.
Oh, we think so.
Just
yes.
to stay in a place
Yeah.
instead of having to move every year or something.
The assessed value of our homes currently is $31 million in this community.
Wow.
So it is creating economic stability for the family and economic benefit to our community.
Yes, in many ways. That's fantastic. Thank you for answering that off-topic question.
Yes,
I
that's
was
quite
just
all right.
like, how does this work?
Yes.
What along my lines? So it's a 30 to 60, whatever you said, percent or whatever.
Right.
So there's like I'm assuming there's an application fee, or not a fee, but a application process.
Sure. Let's
So how
talk
does
about
that-
the application process.
Let's talk about that.
So a family, we typically have a call out both to our partners like the In-Between and the Center for People with Disabilities, things like that, to say, hey, we're about to start another selection process. We don't have a waiting list. We have an interest list. So a lot of people are familiar with the idea of, well, I'm on the waiting list and I'm number 227. So that's not how we work. When you apply, we're looking basically for three things. We're looking at, do you have a steady source of income, that sort of thing, because you're going to pick up a mortgage that you're going to need to pay on. So we're looking for employment history. We're looking at the range, the area we serve. We look at then, so that's, we call ability to pay. Would they be able to do this? Would they be able to afford the mortgage that they'll be picking up? And I can tell you that's probably one of the earliest areas that families need to fix and come up with. That, and we also look at their debt load. When we find we have folks that will counsel once that happens. That's a new program in particular that we're starting, not just for Habitat, but generally for people that are interested in obtaining housing. So we're looking at, is their debt load too great that they couldn't take on the price of a mortgage? And we've had folks that have applied with us 3 or 4 times, but they get better each time because they're working that debt down and not taking more on.
Wonderful.
We look for their willingness to partner. So are they in fact in a place where they can come and put those 250 to 500 hours of sweat equity if it's a single mom and things like that. So that's an important part of that partnership with us, that we explain that they have to go through these educational programs. All of those pieces are part and parcel with what we're looking for in terms of commitment of the family or individual to be part of our program. We're also looking at their current housing situation. So we have sometimes families that are doubled up or tripled up in situations. They may be in an unsafe environment where they're, let's just pick one of a trailer that's dilapidated and not safe from a fire perspective, that sort of thing. Or they're living in a basement with no egress windows would be another example of an unsafe environment. That those are all factors in the selection process. And it's a rigorous process. They'll go through a pretty clear application that talks about, they have to show what their financial situation is. They have to get letters of recommendation from their employer and things like that. So we really are looking for them to be successful. We don't want to put somebody in an unsuccessful position. Just as an example to that end, we have been fortunate to never have had a foreclosure in our situation. The national foreclosure rate for Habitat is 1%. Wow. So again, we're looking for folks to be successful in the long term, and that's very important to us, that we're putting them in a better place for their family. So that's kind of the selection process. They'll go through interviews with our family selection committee, and ultimately we let them know if they're going to be selected.
That's awesome. Thank you. What are your greatest needs at Habitat for Humanity?
first and foremost, volunteers. When I saw service was one of your key points, that was very important that I come and talk about that.
Yes.
That's another function that lands in my particular area.
We're building stronger communities.
Yes. Well, that's good because, we want to build strength, stability, and self-reliance in our families. That's one of our key phrases that we tend to use with folks. And that stability, being able to do that, comes because volunteers are part of that process all along the way, whether they're serving on the job site for a day, and you've been out there, it's not like we're going to ask you to do anything that's, you need any special training for.
No, you guys have that taken care of.
Yes.
It's not just thrown together by,
yeah, that's right.
your neighbors. It's okay, you can paint, you can do the things that don't require super skills, but then the things that require skills and those certifications, plumbing, electrical, you guys have
we have
that covered.
yes.
And those volunteers also? Do they partner?
In some
Is it kind
cases,
of a mixture?
it's a mixture. When we started out, it was all volunteers, right? And I mean, Habitat had these little house plans that you could use and follow and everything else. Today, we're very fortunate. We have several volunteer architects in town that help design our homes and help them fit in nicely with the community. They understand the essence, if you will, of making the house affordable to build.
Yes.
And not having complex things that are very, very difficult to achieve. But our volunteers really make it happen because we have folks that come in and have never used a power saw before. And it's like, I'm scared of that. And one of my favorite stories to tell about that is during the floods, we were fortunate to have the governor and one of our state senators come and visit us a year after the flood. And we had a group of women preparing one of our foundations for the home that would be built on top of that foundation. And the governor came over and said, "What are you guys doing?" And they were leveling the thing so that the house would be square and straight and everything. He was just fascinated that this group of 5 women, led by one of our women volunteer leaders, was doing this pretty complex task that they learned in a day.
Yeah.
So it's something that I always want to encourage people. Don't think you have to have a special skill. Bring the folks from your church. Bring the folks from your business. Bring your women's sharing group or men's sharing group to come and really be a part of this incredible process of building community and doing those things.
I like that, building community, because
Yep.
they're building with the people that are there with the same goal in mind.
Absolutely.
And you make memories, and even within your group, you're connecting in a different level than what you're like normally doing. So it's good to get out of the box and see, where your gifts are and stuff too. And hey, we enjoyed this, or we didn't enjoy this, but hey, we still had a lot of fun.
Well, that's it. And sometimes your gift is showing up, and you need people to carry the boards as much as you do to do the framing, to do those things.
Picking up all the nails.
Yes, yes, all the nails.
All the nails.
So
you get your little magnet and you go out there and you can just walk around and pick up nails.
That's right.
And that's fantastic.
But there is seriously where we pride ourselves on having a great construction team that understands how to train volunteers and how to get them active and doing valuable things.
Yeah, and they had patience, and that was very nice.
Yes.
Because they show you, and then they kind of watch you for a little bit to make sure you understand what you're doing before they leave you alone. And so that was good. So that way they don't have to go back and redo it or something. So yeah, you want to make sure that you're putting your heart into it. Do you have requirements for volunteers?
Sure. To volunteer on the job site, if you're 16 to 18-year-old, you need to be there with a parent, typically. And there's certain things you can't do, like can't have you using power tools and stuff. But
driving
you can
around.
help with, that's sort of thing. But their volunteer opportunities are Restore as well. We haven't talked about that very much.
Let's talk about Restore.
Okay.
I love the Restore.
So that is a place where we can use younger volunteers,
Okay.
about 14 and up, for that. Restore is another funding source for us in terms of helping us to build houses. And we, again, people can donate gently used goods there. Primarily, if you go in, we don't do clothing, we don't do televisions, that sort of thing. But we do have great appliances, great furniture that folks have donated to us. We turn around and sell those, typically about a third of the market value of whatever we
You
see.
have leftover. I've seen flooring
Oh,
there. I've
flooring.
seen paint.
Yes, we're kind of Home Depot meets Goodwill. You know,
There you go.
we're very blessed to have some great things in the store, and it changes all the time.
All the time.
We do have an online store that you should be aware of. So again, you can get to that by going to our website and looking up Restore, and that'll take you to that and all the things that are requirements for donating. But that's also a great place to volunteer because our families do also volunteer in there. Especially, we had one family that just went in whose the daughter is confined to a wheelchair, and so as a matter of fact, we just dedicated their home, and that was where they did a lot of their service, was working in our Restore. So again, we are very flexible in terms of how you work with Habitat to make your volunteer hours, but that's a great place for kids to volunteer too, if they've got their
Wonderful.
things they have to do for school, requirements for volunteering. And as they get older, we love to have them on the job site too.
That's great. I like that.
I think a second thing that we do is try to tell people about our program and to advocate for the need of affordable housing. I mean, frankly, it is the biggest problem we have all along the Front Range, as well as in our mountain communities. That ability to say, look, I understand there's so many misconceptions about people that don't have the kind of housing that many of us are granted, blessed to have. And these are frankly, the working poor in our community. These are folks that you're going to run into doing the stocking at the grocery store. You're going to run into them being the CNA that's taking care of your grandparents. These are the folks that make our communities run.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. So it's very important that we advocate for affordable housing at all levels because there are needs of the homeless. Well, these folks are at the other end of the spectrum. They're ready for home ownership. They're trained how to take care of it. Recently, we've been in building in several communities where they have home ownership or homeowners associations. So that's something we're training our people in now. How do you participate in that home ownership? How do you do that? One of the things I'm particularly proud about recently is two of our homeowners have been elected to positions in city. One is in the city council in Dacono, and one is on the school board up in Estes Park.
Oh, nice.
So that's something that's
They're taking that community to heart.
That's right. They're becoming a bigger and bigger part of their community. And that's what's so important to us, is that really makes a difference. I think the other thing that we need to understand about our folks that enter into this program is, I mentioned that roughly 90% of our homes are still occupied by their original folks. That stability that we give their children, so they're not moving every couple of years.
Well, and the knowledge that's passed on.
Absolutely.
To that family, you've started a complete different segment for their kids to go on and teach their kids.
Absolutely.
And, that's invaluable.
And I think it's something that we've taken to heart. We have one of our family members is now on a full ride scholarship to Duke. Because she had a stable environment. She had a place where she could grow and learn and thrive. We see that in health outcomes too, because now they're not in an unsafe environment. They're not in an unhealthy environment. Those are the kinds of things that are outcomes of having stable housing, of having affordable housing.
Simple as it is.
As simple as it sounds, it's something that we really take for granted. And so for us to have that, it has huge effects on the children in terms of their educational achievement. They're with the same kids all the way through middle school and high school, those sorts of things. The other one that is not as apparent sometimes is that that stability allows our individuals to progress too. An example would be we built a home, I'm going to guess 10 years ago now, for a woman who was a LPN. I'm sorry, she was a CNA when she started. She went, because she had that stability and the known fixed thing, she was able to go and get her LPN and ultimately her RN. And she still serves in this community as a nurse.
Yeah.
That's the kind of power these sort of things have. You mentioned about demonstrating for kids. One of the very first families we served was a family with 9 children. And the family went through the program, and today all 9 of those children are traditional homeowners.
Wow.
The family, the mom and dad are still in the home, empty nesters now, but all 9 of those children had that example to say, this is what I want from my
They
family.
know how to do it.
And they're not Habitat homeowners. They're traditional
Wow.
folks that were able to get mortgages because of that. 3 of them have become teachers in our community as well. So that's the power of having stable homeownership for families that can change their lives.
Absolutely. And the future of the community and the future in general.
That's correct.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Ah, wow. I never thought, I didn't think it was that deep, but that foundation is a foundation
Absolutely.
for generations.
That's right. So it's something that a lot of people don't appreciate. I guess the third thing you were asking me about, what do we need, is obviously we need donors to make this happen. What I love to tell folks is the dollar that you give us today is going to be invested in a home that's going to start paying a mortgage to Habitat. That mortgage dollar will be reinvested to build more homes. So
It's an investment.
that dollar that you're giving is regenerating for years.
Yeah.
The things that are important to our families. So we love to say we give a hand up, not a handout. And that example was started at Koinonia Farms and continues today.
It's fantastic. Wow. That's really cool. Do you have any events coming up or volunteer opportunities?
We've starting 12 new homes. We'll have lots of volunteer opportunities. Colorado weather, if we build no matter what. We'll be putting in, a total of 8 of those 12 homes. We'll be putting foundations for those in the ground in January. So we'll start going vertical, as the construction guys say. And that will be when we start to need volunteers, a serious number of volunteers. And by the summer, we'll have 8 of those homes that'll be all in various stages of construction. So we'll need lots of people to come help our families build those homes. And again, we're set up so that we can essentially take groups, take individuals. We have a group we call the regulars. So if there are folks that are, in retirement, or men and women that regularly join us, I think their day is typically Wednesday they come out. But we'll take volunteers. We typically have volunteers on site Wednesday through Saturday. And we can accommodate groups. If you have out-of-town groups, so let's say your church has a partnership with another church someplace, we actually just built a volunteer center in the basement of our building that we can accommodate up to, I want to say, 15 people and for a week to 8 weeks. So we bring in groups like AmeriCorps who have regular things. We bring in collegiate challenge groups. who are kids on an alternative spring break, and we can accommodate them in our facility to be able to volunteer with us for a longer period of time.
Oh, wow.
So that's been a major.
So it's like a dorm setting? Is that kind of what you're talking
we've
about?
got 2 bunk rooms. So
Oh, right on.
We've got 2 bathrooms down there with showers so they can clean up afterwards. We have washing machines so they can do their clothes, and a full kitchen.
Oh, wow.
So
And
it's
just spend a week and
you can spend a
serve.
week and serve.
That's fantastic.
And we like that. We're kind of trying to work with other folks to let them know about that. So that's a new thing for us. We just actually finished our big fundraiser of the year, which was our Gift of Home tour.
Mm-hmm.
And we are always looking for sponsors for that. But that event entails essentially us working with some decorators and such to decorate 4 homes in the community. And we're always looking for new homes, especially historic homes that want to be part of this, show off their place. The decorators will come and decorate the home for Christmas. They can buy things from those decorators, that sort of thing. And the ticket price goes to us, and sponsorship dollars go to us to help put the event on.
Nice.
So that's our biggest fundraiser at this point in time.
I've been sharing that Gift of Home.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
There was like hot chocolate, like
Sponsors.
sponsor candy cane or something.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So I was like,
Oh,
that's
it's very
fun. So-
Christmassy. One of the
Yeah.
folks that works for me does that and
That's
has
fun.
done a great job with it. So, and we really appreciate our decorators that put in a lot of time
Mm-hmm.
and effort to make those. It's just been a really good thing. It's been in the community for over 55 years now.
Wow.
So we just recently got it, and we think it really matches well with our mission of affordable home ownership. We also always try to have a habitat home in there so people can see what's a habitat home look like if they've never been involved.
It's a house.
Yeah, it's a house.
Looks like a house.
And it's beautiful. So
that you can live in.
yep, for sure.
Probably, I think maybe people, it doesn't look like it's just manufactured and put together.
Absolutely
and
not.
It's an actual, it's
There, we're in the process right now of working through. Right now, we're doing this next project will be duplex homes, as I say, but in a duplex home community. We've got another project we're working on that hopefully will be 30 single-family homes.
Oh, wow.
Because that's what the neighborhood is about.
So it's not cookie cutter houses.
Absolutely not.
Ticky-tacky houses.
That's why we
stacked up.
That's why we have architects that
fantastic.
that are part of our process, because we really want that home to be that family's home.
Pride.
Yes. Well, I think that's the thing. If we have pride and ownership of our homes, our families have exactly that same pride, that same desire to have a community that's beautiful, that's a great place for kids. Those are
That you
all
want to
part of
be.
the same desire.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that's why advocacy is important for us. We want our volunteers to meet our families.
Yeah.
We want them to see they're no different. They have the same desires as every one of ours.
Yeah. Wow. That's really touching.
Thanks.
I really like it a lot. I was talking before about going and helping spruce up people's yards or paint their fences or whatever. Can you tell me more about that program?
Sure. Right now, our critical repair program really is focused on the Glens neighborhood in Dacono.
Okay.
And so that's a program that's a part of our bigger neighborhood revitalization program. We have been blessed to be a testing bed for many concepts on neighborhood revitalization for habitat overall.
Okay.
So we do have, we currently just do repairs in this particular community, and we've been able to obtain funding from several sources so that the homeowner in this case pays 10% of the cost of the repair, and then we bring our staff and volunteers in to help fix those homes up. That started out with a program called A Brush with Kindness. We don't do too many of those anymore, but the fact of the matter is there's such a need for repairs. We're looking about the best ways to expand that program to other parts of our service area. But at this point in time, we're really focused down in the Glens. but we'll see where that goes.
Awesome.
And see what happens with it.
That's good. That's fun to have, that's expanding, that you're testing out new things and figuring out ways to help in different ways.
Well, and that's, I think what's interesting about that is when people move into a home, the reason the Glens was chosen is it's largely a manufactured home area. And so those trailers sort of have a shelf life. And what we're doing now is we're able to go in that program and make them handicapped accessible, put wider doors in, build a ramp for somebody so they can age in place. The folks that live in the Glens love that community, love being there. But I can't tell you the number of floors we've replaced in homes that have just worn down over the years of being there. So where a bathtub might have worked before, now we'll rebuild a shower and do the plumbing work to make it so that it can be accessible in a walker or a wheelchair. That's an important thing that we've learned a lot about in the last 5 years that we've been doing that program down there. And we hope we can find a way to extend it to other communities that we serve. But it's more people served. It's keeping people in their home. That's the important part of our critical repair program.
And safely.
Safely,
And
yes.
sustainably. Yes, I like that a lot. Awesome. So how can people contact and find out more about Habitat for Humanity? Of course, I'll share everything.
Sure.
Be in my QR code. I'll put it up, everything in the description. But go ahead and just
So several
verbalize
ways. We obviously have a website. And so that's vrainhabitat.org, all one word, vrainhabitat.org. If you come out and volunteer, you can go to that website, first of all, and volunteer. We have a little button that says, I'd like to volunteer. Boop, it'll take you to our volunteer page. You can sign up online. We'll communicate with you. Do we have a release that you sign that says, hey, we can take your picture if you're working that day, but more importantly, the liability waivers and all that kind of stuff that we have. The other way is to call our office. I have a volunteer coordinator whose job it is to make sure we get people and groups and stuff in. And you can do that by calling 303-682-2485, and you'll be prompted for what you want to do, and that'll get you to the right folks to get you signed up.
And you guys have Facebook and Instagram.
We have Facebook,
all those
we have
fun
Instagram,
things.
all the things. But the website serves as our main volunteer portal,
Awesome.
If you will.
Awesome. That's all fantastic. You say groups come in. Is it just they just come in and or do you have like a program that like facilitates like group building or?
Absolutely.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep, team building kinds of
building,
program. So a lot of our corporate partners here in town bring out teams every year. Some of them bring out 2 or 3 teams every year, which we're thrilled about. We don't charge you to volunteer at all, but we do have a program that's called an Adopt-A-Day. So we know we spend about $2,500 every day in terms of materials and stuff to build a home.
That's not labor hours.
No.
It's just material.
That's just material.
Got it.
So that's one of the ways that a corporation or a church can help us is to adopt a day. They pay for the materials that'll be used that day. And that's something that is very easy to do. We start every morning with a safety talk. So you learn, okay, this is what we're going to be doing today, and things like
Don't fall in the holes.
don't fall in the holes, don't walk backwards on a construction site because you're bound to trip. And that starts the morning. We then do break into teams, and you'll learn individual safety things. So if you're using a chop saw, you'll get instruction from one of our volunteers or one of our staff on how to use that safely, how to do the work, how to measure things so that you're not cutting multiple things multiple times. Then you're off and running on whatever task you've been assigned or volunteered for that. We take a lunch break if it's a team build, part of the benefit of a team build is both you get T-shirts and you get lunch. So that's incentive. But then during that time, we actually run through a thing we call Habitat 101, which shares with you what is our program about. Some of the things we've talked about here, we talk about in greater detail during the lunch hour. Then we'll get back to work, and usually we're wrapping up by 3:30, 4 o'clock. So that's kind of what our work day looks like. Right now we're starting at 9 o'clock because it's a little cold and dark at 8. But during the summer, we'll go 8 to 3, 4 o'clock. And then in the winter, more like 9 to 3, 3:30.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to the conversation, maybe that I've missed, or you just feel that you have a passion to talk about for a little bit?
Well, I think it's, I've weaved in some stories that we have about our
Stories
families.
make the whole thing.
It's what, I as a development guy, people say, oh, it must be awful raising money. No, I really look at it as part of the purpose in my life. I spent, 30 years or so in the corporate world, and began volunteering for Habitat back then. But I really, the thing I enjoy about this is it's really a purposeful life. It's something that I get to share the good news about what's happening in our community. And whether that's here in Longmont, up in Estes Park, out in the Vrain Valley area, Habitat's doing tremendous work in our community. And we've been blessed with resources, but as I've heard one of the pastors say, thank you, Lord, for what you've given us. It's not enough. We have more to do. And that's something I really take to heart. We're blessed to be part of this community. We have been for 35 years. So for us, it's really a way that we can serve people of all faiths and all beliefs. So for us, it is critically important that we do that service well. And whether that be with folks that volunteer with us for a day or become part of our regulars, whether it's somebody that gives us $25 a year or $10,000 a year, those are folks that make the difference for our families. And that's the one thing I think I could say as a person who's been in this role for 10 years. Those dollar investments that people make change lives and change them on a permanent basis and change them for generations to come. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much, John, for coming on the show.
Well, my pleasure, and thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. I'm glad to track you guys down because the Veterans Community Project was my very first episode. And so then when I went and did help them on their build day, I met maybe you or somebody while we were there, and I couldn't track you down, but I'm so glad that we were able to connect and get this taken care of now.
Well, it's great. And I'd say, we're happy to partner with many folks in the community, and it just it makes such a difference. And you're doing the right thing. Come out and build with us next time as we get started next.
For sure.
So.
I'm looking forward to that. That'll be awesome. Cool. Thank you, John, for talking to us about Habitat for Humanity, and hopefully you guys get some more volunteers. You guys,
yes,
it's a lot of fun. It really is, and you get to learn different skills and you can use in your life, in your home set too. So if you're struggling with something, like volunteer and come learn about it, that's a great way to hands-on do that.
That's absolutely true.
All right. Thank you, John. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you to my guests, my listeners, and my supporters. Serving together, we can strengthen our community. Please like and subscribe. Do all those other things. You got to do them, because that's the easiest way that you can serve right now. All right, now go, connect with others, and be a blessing.